Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Zero Time Dilemma. We're in a bad position, certainly, where I just kind of didn't know what to do, and so I went and looked at some suggestions as kind of a, not a full walkthrough, but some hints. And the hints point to potentially just doing the dice roll over and over again, and maybe the odds aren't really 99.537 that you would fail. Maybe the odds are actually closer to 50-50 between whether you'd fail or not, because the odds in reality on a dice roll doesn't have to really match the odds in the actual game. The only other suggestion that kind of makes sense would be to just go back and watch each of these cutscenes that are at the bottom here and see if there's something different to that, and possibly even just like watching each of these potential cutscenes also. I have to say though, this doesn't feel like a bug as much as a feature as far as the game goes. If I get really desperate too, I will also, I guess, just have to start from the beginning and see what happens if we just played the game all the way through. Or maybe start and look at Q Team's execution cutscene to see if we could do something different there. The guide I saw did say you need to see each of these endings, but it didn't go as far to say you need to remember the last 3 votes well enough so you can remember whether or not C Team or D Team or Q Team died or everybody survived. So yeah, my hope here is this. I was thinking it was more video gamey, and in the rec room there actually are just loaded dice. But I'm thinking I made a mistake there, honestly, expecting actual gameplay. So it does mention that not rolling the dice is an option, or hitting B if you don't know to go back is also an option, where maybe you get a different ending at that point. So, but like in this case, pressing B does nothing and there's no timer here. So we could just sit here for a minute, I suppose, and see if maybe there is an option around that, but I doubt there is. And see, it kind of feels like the characters are programmed to gently sway back and forth, so they aren't just static images. That's a very basic thing you'd do in 3D modeling or even in 2D animation, just to make them not stand out that much. Yeah. But it definitely feels like we either have to roll the dice and just get lucky, hopefully, or we have to replay the escape room. Like, really, at this point, replaying the escape room doesn't make sense to find loaded dice. And see, I just got an achievement. I just got 3 ones. The odds of that is incredibly, ridiculously low.
No way. Oh, yes! Yes! Hell yeah!
So obviously the game just wanted you to try it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah!
And that's probably a great case where you should have just been forced to replay the scenario a couple of times.
Guys, it's 1/216.
I only played it 3 times.
Yeah. You're right.
This escape room was another one of those escape rooms where there's a lot of extra stuff in it.
Of course we're alive. What, do I look like a ghost to you? Or an undead zombie? If I was,
what's funny is he is depicted as a undead zombie-like character in the menu.
We definitely gotta have a toast back in the lounge.
By all means, get out of that room with the machine guns.
I don't think I've seen Junpei this excited since grade school.
I guess he's still the same guy you knew underneath, huh?
Maybe there was a lock stopping
we're alive,
the lucky dice roll.
Both.
And we had unlocked that a long time ago. And I just didn't realize it.
Nothing beats a cold one after surviving a
They
close
really
call.
are characterizing Junpei
Come
as
on! You guys should join
a
me.
heavy drinker
Sorry. I'll pass.
I'm really...
for
Not
someone
in the
who's
mood for it.
22 years old.
For real? Are you serious?
Hey, are you already drunk?
Yeah, I am! Drunk on life! I am buzzed on this kick-ass feeling of surviving the impossible!
You probably shouldn't drink too much, Junpei.
Why not? We're just going to conk out again in 40 minutes anyway, remember? We just experienced the miracle of hitting 1/216th odds, 0.46%, guys, come on! Let's use the remaining time we have to savor this awesome moment.
A miracle, huh?
Yeah, obviously you were going to
Definitely would
question.
If it happened on the first try.
Guys, what are you saying? We only threw the dice once, right?
Are you sure about that? Maybe we just don't remember. And in reality, we've rolled the dice over and over again.
Huh?
If we threw them 3 times, the probability would be 72 to 1. I wouldn't really call those odds a miracle.
Oh, so what?
It
Does
feels
that
like
really
it's
matter?
potentially telling me the
I'll
actual
say it
odds for
again.
doing it 3
We've only
times.
gone and thrown the dice once. Once. Right, Carlos?
Yeah, that's true. What are you trying to say, Akane?
Carlos, let's say you were going to roll 10 dice all at the same time. So, do you think you'd end up with all of them displaying a 1?
Of course not. It's impossible.
Right. The probability is 60,466,000.
How does she know these exact odds?
To 1, but that's essentially impossible. If you tried 60,466,176 times, however, what would happen?
The likelihood of all of them being 1 is...
Not so much of an impossibility, right? I'll give you another example.
But I don't know what they're trying to say here. Are they making a meta commentary on the player playing the same timelines over and over again? Or are they trying to make a in-story argument that their memories
Why
have
are you
been
talking
erased
about-
and that they've
answer
just
the
done the
question.
same dice rolls over and over again?
Really? Okay, first, the 16 narrow down to 8. Then 8 to 4 and 4 to 2. After the final round, one person's left standing, so...
This again just
a
feels like
total of
playing
4?
with numbers for no good
So,
reason.
what would happen if 2 to the 100 did the same thing?
It'd be 100.
And how confident do you feel about winning this tournament, Junpei?
I'm not, obviously. You're out of the competition after you lose just one match. You'd have to win 100 rounds straight to win.
But someone will do it and win, right? A victor who wins 100 matches without losing one will exist. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
The person who won. But only because of circumstance. I mean, more or less.
Well, duh, but why are you...
It may be obvious, but it's important. The one who lives on does so due to circumstance.
The anthropic principle.
Oh, you've heard of it.
Yeah, it's connected to the many worlds and multiverse theories.
The hell are you...
This universe is a little too well suited for human beings. That principle explains why. They say, for example, that if Jupiter was just a bit smaller, the Earth likely wouldn't have even formed. That's not the only instance either. There are physical
I can't help but feel like this is mostly just pseudo intellectual nonsense, just
humanity wouldn't have been created
masquerading as a deep thought.
But anyone can see we do actually exist.
And sure, if this game was for like edgelord 14-year-olds, this conversation is fine. If this is a game for actual adults, people who have been to college and probably thought of these thoughts or been taught these ideas before, it's not going into enough details and it's not really relevant. And it doesn't really feel really relevant to me at this point because I just want to see the ending of the story. I don't want to be sent down the path of another red herring.
Wait, are you talking about tautology?
1 + 1 = 2 is a form of tautology also, right? The left and right sides of the equation say the same thing.
That's sophistry.
Are you sure?
Anyway, I get what you're trying to say, Akane. Maybe, somewhere in this world, there are an infinite number of histories where we were executed by the Gatling guns. But we don't know if those histories really exist. Basically, because we're dead in those histories. The dead can't observe the world. Only those who are still alive can do that. Therefore, we exist here, now.
Any one of these weird occurrences in the story could have been the main focus of the entire story.
The universe could be not
the idea of
for humanity.
Chance and just getting lucky
where they
really should be the main focus of this
You can't
this
say for sure
game.
Such a universe doesn't exist.
And yet, it really
If it
isn't
does,
the focus.
then
We have
could
plenty of
expect that
challenges
aliens would be
that are
interacting
more
together within it.
Okay, now
more
that sounds
logical
like
and
fun.
more obvious as far as what the
Maybe
outcome will be.
That was the universe God had intended in the first place. And this one is a failure.
So, we exist in the universe God abandoned, huh?
Like, all I really want to know is have them
What's
announce
the
the current casualties,
You guys
and
talking
see.
like this, I don't feel like drinking anymore.
see if we can.
Kinda getting
Escape.
the feeling I was an idiot for acting like we won the lottery. I mean, don't you agree? There could be a history somewhere out there that's happier than ours right now. Then maybe it's really true.
We might be in the history God abandoned.
This almost feels like this timeline is just going to end here because they didn't have time to finish it properly.
Casualties. Q team, Q, Mira, Eric. D team, Diana, Sigma. These 5 are now deceased.
I don't get why Q
5
would be
excesses.
on the Q team in the first place if he was just a robot.
Kill, fool, moon, fate. That is all.
That doesn't
No.
quite make
That
sense.
means only Phi is still alive.
Sorry. Forget what I just said.
And this timeline is new
Seems
content,
like we're
which
the
is
ones
great,
with the best luck.
but we need to
God hasn't gone and
give us
abandoned us.
some kind of code or
What do you mean?
password
Didn't
or
you
some
hear
bit
that
of
announcement?
information.
5 X passes were released. The only one left to die is Phi from D team, and then we.
Junpei! Don't you ever say that, even if it's a joke.
It does also feel kind of unfair if there's going to be another puzzle room around Phi having to solve the puzzle room all by herself. Okay, so that ends that point, which just gives us a lock here, which doesn't really help us much, does it? Unless we've unlocked something new. Yes, we have. Thank goodness for that. We've only unlocked one new thing, but at the very least we are now back on track and can actually play some part of the content in the game we haven't seen. Looks like we're even going to get an escape room. Although, in all fairness, we've maybe got 2 or 3 more escape rooms before we maybe run into 3 or 4 more escape rooms in the True Path ending. And I imagine we'll go through the True Path ending in a very linear fashion.
This nuclear reactor automatically supplies electricity for years without any extra input.
How do you know all that?
I read it in the manual that's right over there.
What,
That's
you don't
a
think
funny
Zero
response,
plans to
but
lock us in this shelter for years and years, do you?
That's not funny.
food and medicine would become a problem, I think, fairly quickly.
It's pointless. I checked it already.
Because you would... But
That means we're
there
trapped.
could be scenarios here, and if you were thinking things through,
New year.
certainly
22 years since Maria was born. Never thought
there
there'd
could have
be a
been
time.
scenarios where they were woken up without their
This is
memories,
the worst year
and they
ever.
were, and Zero just
Your
tells them,
girlfriend?
there's no puzzle
No.
this time,
She's my
you
little
you
sister.
just need to eat, and so
She
here's
fell
the
ill
food
10 years ago
and eat it, and then
and
he
was admitted to the
poisons
hospital.
them and makes them
Figured she'd
forget that
be
they've
lonely
eaten.
in there, so I always stop by after work.
90
That's-
minutes without a bathroom break, though, is also something
Every
they're not
good
really
morning,
addressing.
Good night was
Um,
so important to us, and now
like I am not succeeding at playing this game for 90 minutes without bathroom
That's
breaks. I imagine at least once that would be a problem.
Happy New Year, Junpei.
What's with you all of a sudden?
I've wanted to say that to you for 10 years, but I couldn't.
You say it now, but I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say.
at least give her a proper response. You're her boyfriend, right?
No, I am not. She's just a childhood friend.
Really? And here I thought you were dating.
Carlos?
Whoops. I'm sorry if I made things awkward. I just wanted to learn how you guys were connected. The best way to build teamwork is to know who your partners are.
I guess the
How
idea
like
here
a firefighter.
as to why this didn't unlock earlier
Well,
is
leave it at
because
that
they
for
did
now.
want to leave it
Okay, we can't hang
feeling
around here like
like
this forever.
Junpei
Let's
and
find a way
Carl
out.
and Akane were dating. Although they're fairly antagonistic to each other. Almost every interaction, so this is another one of those rooms where everything just kind of rotates around on a track. A lot of white jumping out here. A lot of dials. Certainly, let's not make the mistake we made before of looking in the sink. We have another machine that has something in it. So it looks like we're gonna basically play a pipe game as it is, moving power around. Just trying to turn things on. Looking up and looking down. So yeah, nothing seems to work until power's turned on. So maybe these are frozen pipes and frost on the pipes. Okay. So this is not reading anything, and it says shift one way or the other. Okay. So now we've got pipes here, going up here, going this way. Let's go ahead and turn this. Alright, so does that one go to exposed wires? Interesting. There's another sink over here. We should double check this. Interesting that there's a little cutout on the edge of the sink. So we're probably going to electrocute ourselves at some point. It says freezing fire extinguisher. Alright. Carlos and fire still being a thing. So it seems like anytime you just press the A button, it switches the switches. They only wanted to animate it once. Now we have a block of 10. Alright, so all this freezing fire extinguisher, I can't help but assume, is actually because there's already been a fire here. We can start the heater here, but we need some gas first. And if we're going to turn on the gas, then we need this pipe, and then this pipe, and this pipe, and this pipe. Which, open that. This is gonna be one of those rooms where what's the button to start the flame? So we got gas here. You know there's a flow of gas now, just get it lit. It says. Well, I think we're gonna need more than just a block of 10. Alright, so I think we're gonna have to do some different things first. Can't turn the gas off, so let's switch this and send this direction. I'm assuming this is frozen, so we can't move that yet. So this is just like one big pipe game. The still mode, what could this be used for? It's a mold for key, obviously. So we match that with that at some point in the future. We're gonna just melt the thing. What does this have to do with a reactor? It really doesn't seem like it has anything to do with that reactor, really. Right. Interesting, you have to click on things and then spin things. So starting here, we know that this needs to match this, but the edges kind of don't match either. Yeah. So even if I get the orientation of these two, or these four pieces right, it's still really not going to be correct. with the rest of the outer edge. I mean, as far as these 4 pieces, they seem fine. As far as the edge, they seem wrong. I don't really know a way to address that. That doesn't really match. See, clicking on these doesn't move them. Let me just make sure there's not a button here. Drag screen, click puzzle piece, rotate selected pattern, drag screen, rotate cube. Oh. So once again, this is a case where this is not a flat puzzle. Okay. And again, had they just started at this angle, I would have realized that immediately. Okay, well. First thing to do in this would be to start to think about patterns and ways this would work. And this may just be a matter of getting the outlines and the inner circles. If you were a little colorblind here, I could see that being a problem for sure. So like that 3 on this I think are right. So we'll use that hopefully as our cornerstone, and then I think that makes everything in this area correct. So then we'll try and match everything here, and then we'll match everything here, and then that just leaves us with this, and then that would give us the top half correct. Okay. So now it's just this bottom half we need to match, which shouldn't be too hard. Guess that's right. Guess that's right. Guess that's right. So now it's just gonna want to be fairly cautious to make sure all the pieces are in the right place and we haven't missed something, because like here that's kind of a blue, but on the edges it's kind of a purple, but I'm not really seeing another pattern that would make sense on that. And otherwise, trying to just look at every face seems to be correct. We just want to spin this in several different directions and make sure it's right. These puzzles obviously should have just been eliminated or put in different places, because it is really crazy to have a puzzle. It's also fairly crazy to get 2 of the same object in general, or 2 of the same objects in particular, just because Let's see. Let's see, in that case, we just covered the drain. Really feels like we're going to just flood this room and electrocute ourselves. It really does not make any sense that there would be a floor drain designed specifically so you could overflow a sink. Right. So what is this? It's got a red light. Maybe it's locked, and how do we open it? It's a drawer. Looks like two rectangular objects. Alright, well, I assume I'm supposed to put this here. And then I'm assuming I'm supposed to put this here. And then the light goes ding. And then we need to move the gas. Is that what it's saying? The smell, it's gas. It seems like it's flowing through. So if we start a fire in the furnace, we should be able to use the heater. But oddly, the process of starting a thing, fire, seems to be around the idea of electrocuting things. Which it also kind of feels like there's a lot more happening around this. Unless we're just supposed to use the freezing fire extinguisher. On something. Water won't come out until we turn on the water, which means we have to turn this, which means we have to turn up the temperature. But how do you start a fire? Let's see. So you can't move the wires. Door's locked. We stopped seeing these doors with the X over them, and we never really did get an explanation as to why they decided to spend the extra animation to have kind of like shutters on the doors. Right, so we have two wires sticking in the drain. So obviously the idea is to have these wires electrocute at some point. And the box of matches is just on the ground. So I absolutely could not have gotten anywhere further in the game had I not just found that one thing. So now we have the key. Those dot keys here are more common in Asian. They may have been kind of cool technology when they first came out, but they're pretty old now and not particularly that good. maybe in general you could say having a combination of standard like tumbler keys and dot keys and some other different kinds of keys like dial keys and round circular keys, keeping them all mixed up and having a variety of keys would make it harder for a amateur lockpicker to be able to pick all those different types. But generally speaking, I think you would just want to stick with tumbler keys with a lot of false gates and a lot of well, a lot of pins on them. Okay. I think I just need to turn this valve now that everything is heated up. And this one now can be turned on with the plug. It's flowing over the side. Drainage ditch is right below it though, don't slip and fall. Do I really seem that clumsy? You can be absent-minded, but no one's 100% perfect. Right, so that solves the drainage ditch, goes under and connects just that one wire. Okay. So we did have to open both of them, which was fairly redundant because it's not like we found the plug in a different place. So they're just kind of wasting your time, making you do the same thing twice. And then I guess the real question just comes down to, is there anything else that we're going to interact with or do anything with? Seems like the water is constantly flowing in this direction too. It doesn't just fill up and then you stop. Maybe we are supposed to turn the water off. Or maybe we're supposed to turn the heater off. Okay, no, I need to switch the power over to this. And looking at the thermometer, and having a thermometer seems to just be extra. Now we switch the power on. Monitors are now turned on. Yep, theoretically you can run electricity through salt water. Why is there salty water coming out of the faucets is a question, certainly. If it was pure water, it wouldn't. But most water, I guess, would have enough minerals in it to probably conduct electricity. So assuming it would work is the right move as far as being cautious. Yeah, you could wire a whole house with just water pipes if you wanted to, but that's not smart. They used to actually connect grounds to a lot of plumbing, and it's not really the way they like things to be done nowadays. Where if you are going to run copper or metal plumbing instead of PVC plumbing or PEX plumbing, you still probably should ground it, but it should probably be its own separate ground, and you definitely wouldn't connect the safety ground to an outlet to copper plumbing. That's totally insane. Please close off the steam turbine. It's probably at the back of the reactor, but how do we close them? Well, it's just asking you. And interesting that they animate that in such a way that they didn't even have to use actual text. Alright, so let's just assume this works. And just assume that this is what we're supposed to do. What did they just say about anime? Talking about his sister. I keep not paying enough attention as to what his sister really is named. If it's Maria, that would be weird, certainly. But if it's not somebody in this decision game, then I don't know what Carlos's connection really is to being in the decision game. Like, the idea that Phi and Sigma and Akane all hacked their ways to get in this decision game might explain why the story doesn't seem to connect to them. But Carlos, his part of the story should be connected. So, yeah, he says, "Why do you look so happy about this, Junpei?" And then instead of Junpei responding, Carlos says, "Too much anime. It does look like a lever that control a giant robot. And remember, this is in the future." And he goes, "Well, that's an old reference. You like to watch those too, Carlos?" "I like machines. My sister's not a fan, but she enjoys watching almost anything on TV. You truly love your sister." So, yeah. Which being said here, it's not really that important. As has it. It's been fairly obvious that it hasn't been that important. Yeah. I guess the question is, what is Carlos's story in that part of it, or is Carlos just zero and his part in the story isn't connected? But then what's Diana's part in the story either? We just kind of don't know. So now we have what looks like a puzzle game that we're going to have to do. It does seem like they're just going to get more difficult. Nope, this is just the same old puzzle that we've seen before. So we have some Greek letters. And this probably is going to be a little bit hard to work around, but not that hard to work around. Should probably start with something big like this. I think if we did that, that may severely limit our other options. And it's possible here that not all the spaces need to be used up. So we should probably do some square counting just to try to figure that part out. Also, well, no, it definitely feels like it is close enough to 100% of all the blocks are going to be needed. That I think I have to act from that perspective. Right. There. Maybe this one here. Clearly this is such a big thing, it needs to be considered fairly quickly in this whole mess. But boy, does this not feel like a death game or a mathematical game or anything close to anything that would work. Like, it just does just come off as an incredibly large amount of busy work. This epsilon, or sigma, whatever the E is, I think it's sigma, it limits every other placement, so you need to figure out where this one goes first. Because if it's on top or over the edge, then you know it's in the wrong place. Which I think that means that the only place this can be has to be here. If that spells that out right, then you're left with... It'd probably be nice if these puzzle pieces locked in after you got it in the right place. Okay. So we'll do this, or this, or this. That's not probably the best one to play first. We're to do this. That's fine. We're to do this. That's fine. We're to do that. That's fine. And that isn't quite fine. But that doesn't kind of work either, so... We probably, almost certainly want to place the smallest piece last. That squeezes into that, and that squeezes into that. But would this potentially squeeze into that? There is seemingly enough room here for some extra stuff, extra squares. Is the A possibly in the wrong place? Yes, but how? Because if I was to do this, I'm blocking off something. Which kind of means this has to be an A. And when you follow all of these patterns, everything seems to fit in fairly nicely. Maybe B is supposed to be up here, but I don't know if that really changes much. Is X wrong? Doesn't feel like X would be wrong. So what are we missing? What other piece could be here? And that could be there, that could be there, that can be there, and that can be there. Yep, I think I've done it. Just once again a time waster. Core is lit up and it's now spinning. The monitor on the side says side turn to. Let's see what it says. Okay. Looks like we've got another puzzle. Laser puzzles, which kind of would have thought if you were going to do laser puzzles that there would have been something more to it. It's up and down and no left and right. Okay. Which means if we're going to get this to work, we're going to have to be kind of fancy with it. And there's a limit as far as how up and down you can go based on how wide the patterns are. So and you can't move the center one. So that's 2 at that point. That's 3. And then the yellow is just going to be the most difficult one to get correct, because yellow is going to have to figure a way to bounce up in a high direction and do something crazy like that. There's really no other options. Which does kind of imply that this one, if it's used at all, is either going to be here or just out of the way. Which maybe just means we need to change this. See, the yellow going through goes to that. Yellow going downward doesn't do anything. This basically has to be in place. This might be like that. Which then, if we move that down, we got it. Aha, all the lasers are hitting the center target now. Does that mean the reactor core will be hit with radiation as well? Apparently so. Why are we starting the reactor core? I have no idea. Why does that feel like a good idea? I don't know. Do we ever really know what we're doing in this game? No. Need to cut the electricity by freezing everything. Because apparently we're about to blow up the thing. Thank goodness, disaster averted and the lights are turned back on. Oh hey, oh, the door over there open. Should we check it out? What? Akane. Oh. The top layer of ice melted. She stepped in the water. Akane, Akane, come on, wake up. So, that should have been a cutscene, certainly.
She's okay. She's just unconscious. Her breathing and pulse are normal.
So Akane got zapped, and her...
Now announcing the current casualties. Q-Team, Q, Mira, Eric. These 3 are now deceased.
Notice it's not saying she's dead, so getting electrocuted and passing out isn't good enough.
That is all.
Q team.
It had to have been the vote.
So
No, we can't be
Akane
sure all of Q team was really killed.
passing out at this time,
Yeah.
does that really
You're right.
change something?
We need to focus on getting out of here
As far as
somehow.
her not being able to use the
You seem to be forgetting
morphogenetic
that the exit's
field?
still locked.
Well then, all we can do is go into that room.
So are the two guys gonna go in the
What the hell
room?
is this thing?
It's the rules of an AB
Akane?
game.
She's laying down outside.
This
the
very
hell is
possibly is going to be
No clue.
the same
Something's up on the monitor though.
game you played all the time in the second game. Players Carlos and Junpei stand before the monitor and vote A to either ally or betray. You must vote the same thing. If your timing is off, everyone in the shelter will be executed. You must vote at the same time, not you must vote the same thing. So this is exactly all you did for the most part in Virtue's Last Reward. So it wouldn't make a lot of sense to do a AB game with Phi or Sigma, but it also doesn't make a lot of sense to bring this back. Both of you start with 3 base points. This number will be changed based on the voting results. If you choose ally, both will gain 3 points, which is fine. So it makes a lot more sense that you would just choose ally and ally. The AB games were done in secret in Virtue's Last Reward with different groups of people. So in the same room talking to each other, looking each other in the eye, it makes a lot of sense to just vote ally. If both choose betray, the points remain the same. If Carlos chooses ally and Junpei chooses betray, Carlos loses 3 points and Junpei gains 6 points, which it doesn't really matter, just choose ally. If Carlos chooses betray and Junpei chooses ally, Carlos gains 6 points. When either player reaches 9, the exit door will unlock. If your BP drops to 0, you will be executed. The method of execution is the bracelet will administer a muscle relaxant into your bloodstream. In this way, you will at least receive a peaceful death, which, if the bracelet could do that, why does he blow the heads off of people in other timelines? Beware, others will share the same fate as you. If Carlos dies, Diane and Sigma will die as well. If Junpei dies, Akane and Phi will die. Or Diana and Sigma. Is it Diane or Diana? Make your choice carefully.
Share the same fate.
If I die, Akane and Phi die too.
And Diana and Sigma are killed if I die.
Hot damn! How far is Zero going to go with his toying with us?
Ally?
Or betray?
Now, in Virtue's Last Reward, if you allied
Well,
the first time, you
will it
would
be,
get
Carlos?
betrayed. If you allied a second
Isn't it obvious?
timeline, you
We
ally.
choose ally twice. We'll add 6 additional points to our initial 3. Then we'll both end up with 9 BP. No one dies, no one gets hurt. The exit door will open, and C-Team will be able to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only twist
get
here
it.
would be if you
There's nothing gained
really
by choosing betray, right?
would want
Zero's
to
aiming for us to kill ourselves off here.
kill off Carlos
All right.
or Junpei for some reason.
hey, before we do this, do you mind if we check on Akane? This girl here, she's always been really
I guess maybe they also just wanted to have a throwback mention of the AB games, but
buts and ifs.
they didn't
like,
really want to
like
use it.
someone at least twice her age. But to all of us back in grade school, she was pretty strange. Well, I guess she came across as scary.
Did she get bullied a lot?
No. It was just, well, not many people wanted to be friends. I always saw her.
I don't know
sitting
why
in
they
the
specifically
corner,
have
curled
said
up,
twice
hugging her
that she
knees,
wasn't bullied,
and all alone.
when
I decided
it'd almost make more sense if she
that
was
I'd stay by
bullied
her side
at some level,
to watch over and protect her
particularly
if I could.
in a Japanese
Then
school.
one day, her beloved rabbits were killed by some stupid middle schoolers having fun. She didn't take it well.
This is
So,
all backstory you
without
get
telling
told
me
several times
or
over
the teachers,
in
she
the
went
first
to their
game.
hutch, crying and apologizing over and over to them. That was over 10 years ago. A memory that's been tucked away in my brain, covered in dust. When I saw her again last year, I was reminded of that time. I just can't not keep an eye on her. I know, she always goes and just quietly shoulders everything herself. That's why I want to protect her. I wanted to help her bear whatever weight she's taken up. I truly
It's
felt
way too far into
But-
the game to start
Well, I don't know.
re-establishing
It was
Junpei
like-
and Akane's
It was
relationship.
like I didn't know her as
Since
well as I thought I did. Hell,
Junpei's just been a jerk
I
this
couldn't
whole time.
understand why I even cared. I wanted to find out more about who she really was. To go and see her. Come on, you have someone you really care about, don't you?
You mean my sister?
Yeah.
My parents died in a fire. And then Maria fell ill to an incurable disease. Above anything else, I want to save her. I want to see her smile like before. That's what I decided.
So
That's
maybe
why.
Maria is the
Ah.
sister.
Now I get it.
A-
That's why
and
you
the
need the
killer.
$500,000.
No, I don't think so. Though
It's
that would be
clear
weird if
we both
Maria
have
was
someone we
the
wanna
Heart
protect.
Ripper
And neither of
character
us
and the Cleavage
can
Girl,
afford to die now.
and he needs $500,000 to get her
So let's get out of
psychiatric
this room. By both picking
therapy.
ally. We'll work
So
on
she
getting
stops
out
being
of
a
this
serial
shelter
killer.
After that,
Although, honestly, I don't know if you can really
Okay.
cure being a serial
let's get
killer.
this over with.
Yeah. Back to the room for us.
And I would frankly just prefer to not even be given a choice here.
Don't get the timing wrong, okay? We have to enter them at the same time to...
I know.
All right, here we go.
And these ally and betray games
2, 1.
very well may be the same system. It may very well be the exact same systems that we see in Virtue's Last Reward in the future. So yeah, I'll just choose ally. Timing wise, I don't know how you'd get the timing right or wrong there.
All votes have been received. Results will be displayed on the monitor.
But what would be kind of weird about this is that why did Junpei betray? I didn't betray.
Why?
I chose ally.
Sorry, Carlos. There's nothing gained by choosing betray, right? You said that. But you forgot, Carlos. There actually was something.
What are you...
The 3 and Q team are currently dead. With 3 more, the X door will be able to be opened.
Didn't even think about that.
The same fate.
That's right. If you die, Diana and Sigma will die as well.
No. So then, you...
Don't take it the wrong way. I didn't choose betray so I could escape. I know you'd do anything for the little sister you love.
I don't
That's why I
understand.
figured you'd choose to push betray yourself. So, essentially, it was a defensive move.
Why it would have him betray
I only wanted to protect Akane
when
and Phi.
I clicked an ally.
Huh? Junpei? Carlos?
There's a Japanese saying, assume everyone you meet is a thief. It means you should never trust strangers so easily.
It really feels like the game is screwing with you quite a bit in this case by having you pick a different answer. Well, that was weird for it to go that way. Did that unlock anything new? No, why would it? One thing I want to check though, and I guess we can't do it at this point, is the Myra, not Maria. So it is a different name. It's just a very, very close name for no good reason. So I chose ally, and I was, I guess, playing as Carlos. And this once again highlights the problem in which you're just not really sure who you're playing as, and it would certainly make a lot of sense to potentially have it on the screen and make it more obvious in every effort to remind the player who they're actually playing as. Because I thought I was sworn that I was playing as Junpei, because you play as him throughout the entirety of the first game, and that makes it a lot simpler to understand and figure out. In the scenario that just happened also, if Phi is still alive but Diane and Sigma is dead, there still really doesn't save Phi in any way. It strands her when you escape with Akane and Junpei, and Junpei's zombie appearance and goth-like attitude seems to be continuously focused on and thought about. Alright, well, this time we'll try betray, and I imagine in this scenario then Junpei will choose ally and Junpei will die, and
All votes have been received.
this potentially will leave
Results
Carlos
will be displayed
alone,
on the monitor.
escaping or stuck on the stuck in the facility. And this is exactly what would happen in Virtue's Last Reward.
Why?
You piece of shit! You tricked me!
No, I didn't, I swear. It was because the last time we voted, you chose betray. So
The hell are you going on about?
Yep.
We've only done this once!
And see, the game starts to really reference and tell you that, yeah, these people are remembering other timelines.
Hey, are you okay, Junpei? Wake up!
What the hell, asshole?
But the thing is, you're jumping into different realities, different
You're the one who
timelines.
killed me first.
You're not in the same timeline to begin with.
What is going on? How do I even know about it last time? Junpei's right. This should have been the first time. So why do I think there was another one?
So Carlos obviously
Last time happened.
has the ability to jump
There's a Japanese
see
saying, assume everyone you meet
different
is a thief. It means You should never
So he
trust
can see different
strangers.
timelines, and he chooses the one that saves him as a firefighter.
This is
They already implied that he had that ability.
like, when I'm in a fire. Maybe I. Does this mean I've somehow been avoiding the paths leading to death?
So I guess Akane wasn't in the group of people
How dare
who was
you!
killed.
How dare you kill Junpei!
Akane!
This is probably the most gory with the sound effects and the blood. So you definitely don't get off scot-free for doing that choice. So, who was the other 3 people that died then?
Akane, you.
Junpei!
Because I thought it was going to be Akane and Junpei that got killed, and I guess maybe it just took a little bit longer for the muscle relaxant to kick in that case. Because yeah, that really wouldn't have made sense if, with the numbers, the way it was set up. Alright, so in that case everybody dies, so that is a clear game over. We really haven't made enough progress, though, towards a new true ending, so that's kind of annoying. And so now it is making it very clear with the exclamation point that I need to go back this way, and I don't need to jump back any further than that, but I need to go here and have the conversation again. And now you'll see he'll say something completely different.
Did she get bullied a lot?
No. It was just. Well, not many people wanted to be friends.
In the previous games, they really didn't have an animation to show people jumping into different scenarios.
Where?
So that was really a smart
You okay?
move to add.
Is this before the AB game?
What? Okay. Should I keep going?
Yeah.
I always saw her sitting in a corner, curled up, hugging her knees, and all alone.
And see, now he's just gonna tell.
I decided I'd stay by her side to watch over and protect her if I could.
Huh?
Then one day, her beloved rabbits were killed by some stupid middle schoolers having fun.
So he's just
She
telling the
went
story
to their
back to
hutch,
him,
crying,
proving he can
and
remember the other
apologizing
timeline.
over and over to
Hopefully convincing Junpei to not
How do you know that?
betray this
Did
time.
Akane tell you?
them. No.
Then why? So, gonna stay silent, huh? Fine. Guess there's no point talking about this. Let's just get these votes.
No, wait! Something's weird.
Hello, pot calling kettle.
Whatever I chose in the AB game, it was always the worst outcome.
What are you talking about?
Junpei? Carlos?
So you'd hope that they would just talk this out
I think
in a fade out like
understand.
this, but they really haven't been
believe
doing
what
that in
you
this
just
game.
Did was shift, Carlos.
Although they did do that a lot in the first game.
Space-time human internal fluctuating transfer. A phenomenon where one's mind crosses space and time.
Akane, is that?
The power we used a year ago? The ability to send and receive information through the morphogenetic field. It's a simpler version of this.
You're saying the me here right now came from a different history?
Well, your consciousness at least. Say you go back in time to when your parents met, using a car as a time machine. Know what movie I'm talking about?
Yeah, of course I do.
Making
the high school
references.
protagonist almost gets it on with his own mother. And
References
tries to
to
get
Back
his
to the
awkward dad
Future.
to marry her. That's the basic plot, right?
Yes, the story revolves around a boy. We'll call him M.
They're
Now,
avoiding
according to the
copyright
plot,
claims, I
he's
guess.
successful at getting his parents to marry.
Marty.
But history ends up changing slightly. Upon returning to his own time, his father's a famous science fiction writer, and he's rich.
Huh. I guess the hierarchy was switched when his dad punched the neighborhood bully.
But did you
Do they
notice
really
something
need to be
odd
talking about the movie this much?
Just what happened to the M who lived in that fancy house?
Huh. Well, now that you mention it.
I don't think the M from that history appears in the movie at all.
There are two overarching types of stories about time travel. The first type states that there is always only one history. Meaning, if someone changes the past, that previous past is subsequently erased. The other type is where multiple histories exist. This is the many worlds interpretation. One of the more widely believed
This is the
hypotheses
kind of
on
conversation
multiverse
that
theory.
really should have happened
The world
way
and
earlier
universe
in the game.
split into branches as a result of one's decisions. It's a setup where each branch is able to exist in
If you'd
some
been playing the
form.
game for like 50, 60
Okay,
hours at this
so
point,
back to the movie.
it's probably not been 50 hours. If
First,
you've been playing the game
let's
for 20
consider what
hours
happens
at
with a
this point
single
and you
path
didn't
history.
get this concept
In
yet,
this case,
why
do
would
know
you still
what
be
M
playing the
is doing
game?
back in his own time?
What he's doing?
Committing a form of murder.
Murder?
Well, think about it. The M who grew up in that fancy house, let's call him M2. M2 should have had a variety of amazing memories from his life. Maybe he met a really cute girl he liked, or was a winner of a contest. The possibilities are endless. All of those memories, every single one was overwritten when M came from another history.
Huh? But the history that disappeared was poor M's.
You're right, that's true. What was erased from existing in time was M's history. But the only memories that M retained.
Are those of when he was poor.
So, in effect, the life that M2 lived through was overwritten, all because of the actions that the protagonist
I wonder if we're going
M
to
took
even
to save
actually
his
be
own.
asked to vote at this
I'd
point.
say that's the same as killing someone, don't you think?
Or if we're just getting a cutscene and a good ending because
Next
of this.
is the multiverse hypothesis.
Although, I don't know what
in this
the
situation,
good ending here
M2's
really
life
is.
never erased.
You choose betray and
Instead,
betray,
a mystery
and
remains. So,
you
where did
don't change
M2,
anything, or you
the
choose
version who
ally
remembers
and
being
ally
well
twice, and you don't
up
change
and
anything.
disappear to?
Where he went.
This is what I think. On the same day that protagonist M used the time machine, M2, for some reason, did the same as M and went back to the past. But then he did the exact opposite of M.
The opposite.
Mm-hmm. He stopped his dad from punching the bully.
So, when he returned to his own time, it was the world poor M had lived in.
This is
Are
an
you
interesting
saying
theory.
They pretty much
Kind of has
switched
nothing to do
places?
with the movie
It would
series.
keep everything consistent.
That's depressing.
What is?
M2's situation. Well, he ends up getting the bum end of the deal regardless of which scenario happens.
Damn, that's pretty unfair.
Yes, that's true. But, this is rather difficult to say, Carlos. Your case may be exactly the same.
What?
Your consciousness could have come from another history and taken over this body. In exchange, the Carlos who was here originally...
No. Another me is in the other history?
There's no use in getting upset. You simply need to accept that that's what shifting is.
And why would you really care? Because that kind of assumes that there's a
Akane,
multiverse
how did you know that
at some
Carlos is
point, or
able to
multiple
shift?
options.
You mentioned before that he knows which path
You
has
can only
death at the end
experience
and which is safe.
the one history
I
you're
just sort of
experiencing.
knew too.
An arsonist set fire to our house when I was
Every time you hear this
my
music,
parents didn't make it.
it gets a little
Though I was
repetitive
able
at
to
this
get my
point.
sister Maria out. But we didn't make a clean escape. Maria fell into some sort of coma. They first thought that she had carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yeah,
But that
Maria
wasn't
has
what it was.
reverie syndrome,
Reverie syndrome.
not just craziness.
A variety of
Like
moments
Myra.
flicker in and out of the mind, as if one was constantly dreaming. We believe this is what your sister has.
Maria is either receiving large amounts of information from the morphogenetic field, or her consciousness cannot stop its jumping between multiple histories.
Then she's like us.
Yes, though it's slightly different. In Maria's case, that power is running rampant within her. That is what the reverie syndrome really is.
At a certain level, if that's what
Awaken be
reverie
found to
syndrome
control
is,
the ability,
then more than
then
likely reverie
she could
syndrome
recover from it.
is
Is that true?
caused by the events of
I
the
see.
previous games and
good.
what's happening now.
So there's some hope for her.
Hey, Carlos. When you dove into the fire to save your sister, you were able to hear her voice, right?
Yeah, I was.
Carlos, I'm here! I'm over here!
Maria! Maria, is that you? Just stay there! I'm coming to get you!
No matter how you look at it, there was no way her voice could reach me. But I realized
Maybe Q
exactly where
is
she
actually
was,
Maria.
and I found her quickly. That was the first
And
time. After that,
Zero
I could
lied
hear
about
victims
Q
crying out
being
in the
Sean.
fires, and which way would lead to my death.
Oh, this ability we have is triggered by intense danger.
No, because we
When
kind of
we're
confirmed
threatened by a crisis,
by typing in
it's
Sean's
easier for us
name
to access the
that
field.
that was Q,
Get it.
didn't we?
So that's what it was.
So, Carlos, Junpei, shall we shift?
Huh?
What?
There's really no reason to play the AB game. Well, as it stands right now, it's incredibly likely the both of you will decide to pick ally. But instead of going through that, it'd be better to shift to another history. It'll work! The three of us will definitely be able to do it! But only if we find our lives in danger.
Wait, what do you mean by danger?
So they're gonna potentially blow up the facility in this timeline and kill the other three people.
The control panel has detected an error in the program. Main cord required to supply additional deuterium. Please quarantine or disconnect the control panel.
Hey, Akane?
You're really turning the reactor into a bomb?
I told you earlier, didn't I? Our lives have to be in danger for our shift ability to manifest.
But this is absolutely nuts.
It's not really fair to the remaining
Even if
people.
we do manage to do this, the us who are from whatever history we switch with will end up.
Do you plan on dying here then?
Oh, right. I forgot you were like that.
The main core is preventing the shield from deploying.
A lot of
Evacuate now.
kind of slow
Evacuate now.
background storytelling,
Where do we
then
need to
a
jump
very knee-jerk jump to blowing up the facility.
You didn't consider that part?
Would have been better
If we
to
knew in advance,
kind of ramp up to the
effect of
idea.
the threat would be lessened.
You're not affected by any of this at all, are you?
That's not true. Here, look. My heart's pounding so fast. Do you want to check it?
2 minutes until detonation.
Yep.
Hey, it's kind of getting down to the wire here.
So we're not playing the AB game, and I imagine we're not doing anything
Shit!
else.
We're just gonna have to go for it. Jump to the same history I am.
The same history?
Which one?
Think! There's a history when we didn't get all ones on the dice rolls. The moment right after that.
Are you insane? We're just gonna get ourselves killed.
It's okay. I have a plan.
30 seconds
Interesting.
until detonation.
That's the timeline he
All right.
picks.
I trust you, Junpei.
Ah, damn it.
But it certainly goes to show
I'm gonna kill you.
why you would have to
Okay, let's go.
get all ones on the dice rolls first before you get to this
1.
sequence. I guess I have to say again, I'm glad we're at least making progress, because this episode certainly could have been a nightmare scenario of just doing the dice rolls or desperately trying other things to unlock content. So do we continue, or do we end the episode there, I guess is the question. I think we have to continue, because that's really the only option, and we have grayed out everything else. So yeah, we were here at the AB game. We got time to shift, and that shifts us still within the same branch where Q Team is dead. And I have to assume that this is just going to be an ending, or we're going to shift possibly here, and maybe we are just going to follow this team constantly shifting. But at a certain point, if this team shifts, then shifting to another branch where the C team already exists seems like a weird turn of events. And yeah, let's go forward at this. I do want to see potentially what happens here as far as what they do. You're effectively shifting into a situation where your life is also being threatened, so you could potentially shift a different way.
Wait, that one doesn't count.
Your hand slipped. That was it, right?
Yeah, what she said.
You wouldn't mind a little do-over, right? Zero?
I'm still not sure if they wouldn't just have moved the dice to all ones, if that wouldn't have counted.
Did it work?
But this is...
It's not like they memorized where the bullets are going, though.
Hurry, Junpei, what was your idea?
Yeah, right. First,
What?
What the hell?
Carlos, put Akane in the fireplace.
Huh?
Just do it!
What? In the fireplace that was lit?
What are you...
Akane, listen to me. Carlos and I are going to be your shield wall.
What?
What are you talking about?
The bullets shouldn't hit you if there are two bodies in front of you.
But if you do that, then you'll...
It's okay. Listen, Carlos and I will protect
If that
you
was the
and
idea,
die.
lie on top of each
Don't
other.
worry, it'll be fine. Before we die, we just need to shift to another history. Once you hear all of the X passes, Akane, You should follow right away.
The X passes?
In this history, 5 are already dead. Phi's the only other one alive. That means 5 X passes will be revealed. If Carlos's and mine are added to that,
then there'll be 7.
No!
Damn it, Junpei! What the hell is this plan?
you're going to help, right?
Don't really have a choice at this point.
Ah, damn it!
That is a pretty crazy.
Don't do this!
We can't go back now. This is the only way.
Where are we jumping?
To the history when we rolled the dice and they were all ones.
Okay, let's do this then. Let's protect Akane, no matter what.
I'm counting on you, Carlos.
So they're just kind of jumping backwards and forwards. You have to be in the lounge to type in the codes, but I guess if you can get into the lounge at any point in the past, you could type in the codes at any point there. So why not just jump back to the beginning of the decision game and the execution?
The current casualties. Q team, Q, Mira.
Should we memorize this?
D team, Diana, Sigma. C team, Carlos, Junpei. These 7 are now deceased. As a result,
That's pretty gory with the
7
body
X-passes
bullet
will
holes.
be revealed. I, kill, fool, moon, fate, save, doll. That is all.
The problem, though, is I've tried this before in the actual game, and I don't think it actually worked.
Horrible.
The idea of typing in
Horrible. Junpei.
other passes from other timelines didn't
I
work.
should go now.
Be funny if it doesn't work. Nope, it does. Okay. Alright, so that gets us an achievement. And that still locks us into another timeline. So, still nothing you can do here. You're just jumping all over the place. So, obviously the idea of shifting is the main gameplay mechanic, or at least a secondary gameplay mechanic of this
What in
whole
the world
experience.
were you thinking?
What is your problem? Look, the 3 of us shifted just fine, so what's the big deal?
It's not okay.
We did get 7 X passes at least.
Not you too, Carlos. I can't believe you. You always were like that, weren't you, Junpei? When we were in 6th grade, you faced those rabbit-killing middle school kids.
I'm gonna pause this recording and take a break. Almost every episode I am doing this. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. This game, because of the fact that you're just sitting back and listening to cutscenes all the time, lets me just sit back and relax and drink a ton of water because I'm talking a lot and just commenting a lot on a lot of story. Whereas if I was playing a standard like Western action beat 'em up game where I'm button mashing, I think the stress levels go up a little bit more, or the excitement levels go up a little bit more. That tends to not make me have to run and pee as much as this game is doing it. I'm doing it quite a bit. Yeah, so we'll get back into the story here pretty quick, but there is still this problem where if you're going to open the door and try and say Phi, you either have to send Gab the dog and give the codes to Phi and set a specific time in which they all type in the same code, or this is just going to be an ending where C Team lives and Phi gets left behind.
Kids alone. There were probably other ways of handling it, but you rushed right in. Even the
Still
shifting.
getting a whole bunch
It's
of...
okay because it worked, but what if I was left
They're
behind
gonna get a whole bunch of
Well, I
backstory with
you could
Junpei and
escape alone
Akane.
then, or something.
But that way of thinking is completely wrong.
Both
Being
Junpei and
the sole
Akane
survivor
are
does not
obviously
make me
very
happy.
reckless.
There's no point in living once you lose the one you care about the most.
There you see a little physics in her hair
Akane.
shaking around. And they actually managed not to clip into her shoulder in that cutscene. Now it is.
I'm sorry. I never meant to ever cause you pain like that.
What's that?
Well, remember back in elementary school, your dream was to wear a ring on your left hand? So...
Is that her left hand?
What's the matter?
That was her right hand.
Junpei.
Yeah, you just put it on her right hand and not her left hand. Yeah, they totally got that wrong.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And I guess you can take a lot of
But-
implication from this.
You know this is my right hand, don't you?
Wait, what? Oh, you're right. It looked like the left from my side, so,
That's just like you,
Notice how his
Junpei.
hand isn't actually caressing her head.
well, we'll move it to the correct finger later.
Now his hand is clipping through his hair and his head.
I'll do it officially after we escape from here.
I understand.
So yeah,
So,
from like a Japanese
Until then,
storyline, there's
I'll leave an empty spot open.
maybe a little bit
It's
of
been put on reserve.
more you could read from this dialogue, but not by much. It's pretty blatantly obvious he's proposing to her. This hardly is one of those scenarios where I was talking about in a previous episode where he's just saying love means I love you deeply and passionately and romantically.
Akane, do you remember the X passes for Junpei and me?
I don't.
Yes. Normally, when someone shifts, they forget the memories from the last timeline. But I'm used to it. It's all there.
But wait, hold on. Carlos and I remember what happened before, too.
Huh. I think the memories were strengthened due to the resonance effect.
Or this
Those
is
with
all
the
a
ability to
simulation.
shift- Oh, there are 3 of us here, so...
But I wonder why. Why have 3 shifters gathered in a place like this?
And they
Doesn't
never really are
really
addressing
seem
the
like a
scars
coincidence.
on Carlos.
True. Even if we really are seeing more shifters in the world, the probability...
Wait, the numbers are increasing?
Mankind is about to face an unprecedented crisis. As it stands now, we'll lose 6 billion lives. I assume mankind has sensed that and is adapting. Even though it's, in reality, only a small portion. There's no way there are tens of thousands of shifters.
Then it's definitely on purpose. But we signed up for decom of our own free will. Wait a minute. But maybe we just think that, and in actuality...
We did exactly what Zero wanted?
It's highly possible.
Ah, damn! What is that bastard thinking?
Wasn't it because he needed us to shift?
Why would that be important?
What is the plan? We
It'll
have
all
no
be
idea.
over once we get out of here anyway.
You're right.
We couldn't care less what Zero has planned at this point.
We need 6 X-passes. We know 5 of them already, so 1 more. Akane, tell us one of the other X-passes.
It's save.
Was it? But this still kills Phi, and they seem to have forgotten about that. Well, let's... I kill full moon fate save. And I think they may specifically have the others filled in so we realize that it doesn't work. Error.
Hey! What the hell?
Wait. Is the X-Pass wrong somehow?
That can't be.
Yeah, let's try the other one too.
Akane!
It's Doll.
Doll definitely was one of them. Yeah, there was no way. We'd already tried this. It doesn't work. The codes are only handed out after somebody dies, and only work after somebody dies.
What the?
No way.
But why?
X-passes are sent to their respective histories. X-passes from alternate timelines are not applicable.
Well, the game
What?
basically tells them they know they've been jumping to alternate histories.
Junpei.
Now this is hilarious. How perfect. Why did we even struggle through all of that just now? Those guns turned my body into Swiss cheese. And you're telling me that it was all for nothing? All we did was die in vain?
So unless there was a code that exists before anybody
just one
dies
person needs
at
to
the very
die.
beginning of
What?
the time.
Just one more person, and Akane and Carlos can...
Junpei, you.
Wait, Junpei!
Hey!
So Q? I was not expecting that.
Junpei!
You're...
Penalty. Penalty. You are charged with a rule violation. That means you must be punished.
punished?
Time to exterminate.
Exterminate?
So yeah, you definitely couldn't have seen this timeline
Akane!
without revealing Q's problems. Or Q being a robot,
Damn
being
it, he's so
super strong.
Any more of those punches and... This is... That was QT.
So yeah, seemingly Q could straight up
I see QT.
just punch the door open if he wanted to.
Doesn't matter. I gotta do something. If I die now, Junpei and Akane, think. I gotta think.
So are we gonna
There
jump
must be a way.
again, shift again?
Some way to survive this situation. There has to be.
I believe that what you just did was shift, Carlos.
That's it. Shift. I could shift. There's no way I'm leaving Junpei and Akane behind. I'll come up with a plan in another history and jump right back. But where do I go? Which history should I jump to? Damn it! I don't have time to think. Then...
These episodes are getting longer and longer at this point. So we're still locked into a timeline at this point. And it does seem like we are just locked into another story. And we're jumping here, which just would have been after we tried to figure out who killed Junpei, which at this point, I guess it's fairly obvious that Q maybe killed Junpei. But there is a problem here that we jump here, and then we may jump here, and then we jump back here, or we may even jump here. This does seem like this is going to be the path where we jump all around and really focus on shifting. But at some point we may actually stop shifting, and we may just see the rest of the story in the true ending through a different aspect. Like jumping here though, where it asks for the 8-digit code, doesn't really make sense. So I assume we are going to, in the next episode, wrap up the shifting narrative, which maybe leads to us seeing one more of these locked cutscenes, or all of these being done completely. It does seem like we might be filling in more of these numbers. Maybe, maybe not. And again, yeah, it's just this. Well, it's been long enough though, so this is a good point to probably save and call it an episode, and we'll just continue from this point. I want to try my very best to not turn these episodes into 3-4 hour long episodes, as the excitement of potentially wrapping up the story becomes overwhelming. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and give me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.